And we aren't done with islands yet, or China for that matter. The US is poking the dragon. We can give you two examples from this week. Number one is from the Philippines. It is conducting a military drill with America, their biggest ever. Now, this is an annual affair, only this time it's much bigger. It's the largest display of American firepower in Asia, and it is aimed at China. Number two, the US has sent a naval destroyer. It came close to the contested waters between China and the Philippines. This is the USS Milius. It's a guided missile destroyer from America's 7th Fleet. It was seen patrolling around the Spratly Islands. This is off the coast of the Philippines. Both Beijing and Manila claim this territory, the Spratly Islands. The US warship came very close to the Mischief Reef. The Mischief Reef is a coral outcrop. It is part of the Spratlys. It is claimed by the Philippines, but Beijing has been controlling it since the 1990s. And they've built a base here. The Chinese have built a base on Mischief Reef. It's a base that is protected by missiles. The Americans came within a distance of 22 kilometers from this base. China saw this as a provocation. What does the US say? It says it is only exercising the freedom of navigation. But look at the timing. Just a few days back, the US angered China over Taiwan. It hosted Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. We told you about it. She met US House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in Los Angeles. China kept warning against the meeting, but America went ahead anyway. And on Saturday, this is what a US official said in Taiwan.
We are doing everything we can in Congress to speed up these sales and get the weapons that you need to defend yourself. And we will provide training to your military, not for war, but for peace.
You heard him. Training a military not for war, but for peace. Typical twisted American logic. They're applying it with the Philippines as well.
The Balikatan 2023 is the 38th and largest ever iteration of this exercise, with roughly about 17,700 troops from the AFP, US forces, and Australian Defence Forces. It builds interoperability, enhances capabilities, and demonstrates mutual defense of the Philippine sovereign territory, and promote peace and security in the region.
Defense in the Indo-Pacific, protecting Taiwan from a potential invasion, reining in an aggressive China. These are all important geopolitical goals. But let's not kid ourselves and say all of this is for peace. These are essentially power games. A protester in the Philippines who is opposed to these drills described their purpose in a clearer manner.
Clearly, the war games are intended to project U.S. power in Asia. It's not intended to defend the Philippines. It's not intended to help the Philippines modernize. It's really intended to showcase U.S. power, and it is a preparation for war. So what happens after war games is that the U.S. is contemplating that the conflict will escalate. And now that we have more EDCA sites or forward operating bases, the Philippines will eventually be dragged into that kind of conflict, which is not necessarily in our interest, as I said.
The US has been building up its bases in the Philippines. In February, it got access to 4 additional bases. So now they have a total of 9 military bases in the Philippines. The Americans have 9 bases. 3 of these new ones are in the northern island of Luzon. This is very close to Taiwan. It's the closest bit of land to Taiwan that is not a part of China. And one of the new US bases faces Taiwan. Another one faces the Spratly Islands. These bases are a win-win for both Manila and Washington. Let me explain. First, how do they help the Philippines? This is a territorial dispute with China, this region. The Spratly Islands. They fall in the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, but China claims them. So having US troops around helps the Philippines. They can keep China at bay. And what's in it for America? A military base within striking range of China. That's what the US gets. So it makes sense for both sides. The Chinese, of course, are not too thrilled about it.
事实非常清楚。
The facts are very clear. Out of self-interest, the US maintains a zero-sum mentality and continues to strengthen its military deployment in the region. The result will inevitably be increased military tension and endangering regional peace and stability. countries in the region should think deeply about what is appropriate and what is mutually beneficial.
利于地区和平稳定的选择。
Beijing has been racking up enemies due to its aggressive posture. It is fighting neighbors to grab their land. India knows this. So do Japan, the Philippines, and Vietnam. And the US is taking advantage of these tensions. It is forming a ring of bases to hem China in. America is making allies, conducting drills, and flexing its naval muscle around Beijing's turf. Why? Because the US views China as the greatest threat to its world power status. It wants to limit China's influence. And why are China's neighbors going along with America's power projection? Because China is a regional bully. And some Asian nations think standing with a bigger bully is the best solution to keep the dragon in check.